You may have noticed from your own experiences or from watching others or observing others that stress oftentimes is followed by a reaction. And when I say reaction, I mean something that's not necessarily planned or beneficial, maybe a knee jerk type of reaction, maybe something that doesn't help the situation or even makes it worse, fuels the fire, or takes a toll on you or others involved. But all too often, stressful situations, stressful exchanges, just stress in general, oftentimes is followed by reactions. And it's very common. It's not something that you necessarily plan for. It's just something that happens. So it's important to realize that it happens and that it is something that often happens that is unplanned, because it tends to be not helpful, really, when you combine it with a stressful situation. But the important takeaway here is that reactions don't have to follow stress or stressful situations or stressful stimuli. We have another option, you have another option, and that other option is a response instead of a reaction. What is the difference? Well, a response is something that is made by choice, something that is more responsible. It's not reactive, it's not a knee-jerk type of response. It's something that will, at the very least, be neutral in nature. And oftentimes, if we play our cards right, it can actually be helpful in a situation, especially right after you experience something stressful or have a stressful exchange. When I talk about responding as opposed to reacting, I always like to point out the idea of taking responsibility. Now, sometimes people shrink away from that word responsibility. Sometimes people don't want responsibilities. They feel they have too many, they don't want any, whatever the case may be. But let me reintroduce you to that term so that you may think of it in a different way. Responsibility is not a bad thing. Responsibility is a privilege. Responsibility is the ability to respond. It's your ability to respond. Imagine if I told you that I am taking away from you your ability to respond. You would probably not like that. You would probably protest. You might have a reaction to that. But if you think about responsibility and the root of that word, your ability to respond, it comes with power. It comes as a privilege. It comes as something that we want. It's something that I want. I want the ability to respond. Don't you want the ability to respond? Wouldn't you protest if somebody said, I'm taking away your ability to respond? So responsibility is the ability to respond, which is different from a reaction. So when you face a stressful situation, a stressful event, stressful exchange, whatever it may be, rather than succumbing to a knee-jerk reaction, something that will probably not help the situation, pause and make a conscious decision to respond if you must, rather than react. And a response could be something as simple as letting it go or walking away or keeping your comment to yourself. We don't need to fuel the fire or make things worse by having a reaction. Reactions are they're not very sophisticated, let's say, because they can be used as an excuse. Oh, that's just the way I am. Well, you made me do it. Well, what did you expect? But that's not very mature or responsible. When you think about the adult way of handling a stressful situation, one would aim for a response over a reaction. So I really want you to think about this. I encourage you to practice responding whenever you encounter stress rather than reacting. Because what happens when you react? When you react, you're just adding to the problem, and that tends to be followed by even more stress, to which you react again, which then again is followed by more stress. So it becomes this vicious cycle. But when you choose to respond over reacting to a stressful situation, you are taking your power back. Or to put it more correctly, you're never giving your power away to begin with, right? You're keeping your power and not giving it over to the stressful situation or event or exchange or whatever it may be. So it's a choice. It may be something that you have to practice, but with practice, things get better. And of course, it takes time and energy. Everything does. I keep telling you the same thing in these videos. If you want change, you have to do something about it. You have to take the time and devote the energy to bring about change, whether it's changing your thoughts, your behaviors, or how you respond. So responding versus reacting, responding over reacting. But I really want you to think about this very simple concept. It's for your own good. Whether it's in an immediate situation or when we look at it long term, responding is so much better for you and the situation and everybody else involved, as opposed to a reaction, having reactions over and over again. Those truly only add to the stress, only fuel the fire. So look at responding as a better option. Think in terms of your responsibility, your ability to respond, which is your power, having that power, keeping that power, not handing it over to a situation or to a person or to an event or to an exchange, but rather keeping it by keeping it together and choosing to respond, not react. So this is a very simple concept, not necessarily easy in execution, but not as hard as you may think to start with. Again, it's a matter of practice. So put in some time, put in some effort, start with awareness. Everything has to start with awareness, followed by a decision to make a change. And then just put in the time and the effort. So choose to respond over reacting to stress, and you will effectively reduce the stress in your life and how it affects you, the situation, and those around you.